Hello everyone. In this video we want to talk about the other thing that we can use to describe atoms. In the previous video we talked about the atomic number. Now we want to move to talk about something which is called the mass number. To understand this, I'm going to explain this example first. When we talked about the carbon last time, for carbon, we said the atomic number of carbon, it has atomic number of it is what? Is 6. So it has 6 protons. So all carbon atoms all over the world, they have what? 6 protons. The atomic number of them, 6 protons. But what about the number of neutrons? Actually, number of neutrons is not always the same in the same type of atom. I'll give you another example. The other example, I want to talk about element which is called chlorine. This chlorine, the atomic number of it, the atomic number of chlorine, which is what? Equals 17. Which means it has 17 protons. Okay? But here, all chlorine atoms all over the world, all of them, any chlorine atom that you have or you find or you can hear about, all of them, they have 17 protons. The atomic number of it is 17. Okay? But not all chlorine atoms, they have the same number of neutrons. Here you have to put it in your mind, but not all chlorine atoms have the same number of neutrons. Some of them, chlorine atoms, some of them have like 18, let's say, 18 neutrons. And some of them have what? Have 20 neutrons. Still, as you see here, I'm talking about the same type of atom, which is a chlorine. I didn't talk about different type of atom here. I'm talking about a chlorine. They have the same number of protons, but the same atom, maybe the same element. The atoms, they have different number of neutrons. So here I want to define a new thing. We want to learn a new term which is called isotopes. What is the isotope? Here, if you're talking about the same type of atoms, again, the same types of element or the same element, okay, the same type, or here, they are atoms of the same elements. Again, atoms, what is the atoms of the same atoms here of the same element, okay, that have different, okay, they have different numbers of neutrons, that have different numbers of neutrons. Okay, as the example that I mentioned here, chlorine, I'm talking about chlorine, the same type of element, okay, but the same type of element, some of atoms, they have 18 neutrons, some of them, they have 20. What do we call these atoms? They are the same type of atoms, of elements, but they have different number of neutrons. We call them what? Isotopes. For chlorine isotopes, some chlorine atoms, they have 18 neutrons, some of them, they have 20 neutrons. Okay, I'll give you another example. The other example, hydrogen. Hydrogen has 3 isotopes, not like chlorine. Chlorine, it has like 2 isotopes. Hydrogen, it has like how many isotopes? It has 3 isotopes. Isotope number 1 okay, has no neutrons. No neutrons. Isotope number 2 has, sorry for this, has 1 neutron. Okay, isotope number 3 has 2 neutrons. You have to put in your mind, I'm still talking about hydrogen. All of these hydrogen, they have the same number of protons or the same atomic number, which is 1. But one of them it has no neutrons, one of them it has 2 no neutrons at all, one of them it has 1, one of them it has 2. Okay, still we're talking about the atoms of the same element, but they have what? Different number of neutrons. Is this clear now? Let's listen. Okay, depending on this, we understand the meaning of isotope, and we want to learn a new term now. This new term is called what? The mass number. What is the mass number? Equals to number of protons plus number of neutrons in the nucleus. So the sum or the total number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus is called what? The mass number. I'll give you different examples, but before giving example and solving this example, listen to this carefully.
An atom's mass number is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons it has in its nucleus. All atoms of a particular element have the same number of protons. However, the number of neutrons in the atom can vary. Forms of an element with different numbers of neutrons are called isotopes of that element.
Okay, so here number of neutrons can vary, but number of protons stays the same. The total number of protons and the neutrons equals to what? To the mass number. Let's now solve the questions. Let's go back to this hydrogen. I want to talk about hydrogen. Okay? The question is now, if you know that the atomic number of hydrogen is 1. Find and the mass number is 2. The first thing that I need, find number of protons. 2. Find number of neutrons. 3. Find number of electrons. Let's solve it together. How to solve these questions. The answer. How to solve these questions? Let's start from the beginning. What do we have? What are the things are given? They gave us the atomic number. We have the atomic number as you see here. And we have what? The mass number. The atomic number is 1. The mass number is 2. Don't forget, this is 1. We know that the atomic number equals to what? Number of protons, right? So, number of protons. So, from this, number of protons equals 1. The second thing, and we know number of protons equal to number of electrons. So number of electrons, how much? 1 equals 1. So we solved number 3, we solved number 1, right? Now, how to find number of neutrons? How to find number of neutrons? We know that the mass number, sorry for this, equals to number of protons plus number of neutrons. You know that the mass number is how much? Is given, which is 2. The mass number, which is 2, right? Number equals number of protons, how much? It's given, which is 1. Plus number of a neutron, which is unknown, x. I don't know what is it. So minus 1 from this side, minus 1 from this side. Number of neutrons, how much? Neutrons equals 1. Is this one clear now? Okay. Then I'll give you another example. These examples are important, guys. The example now, the atomic number of chlorine is 17 and number of neutrons equals 18. Find number of protons and number of and the mass number. From the beginning, how to solve it? The atomic number equals to what? Number of protons so it equals what? 17. The mass number now equals what? Number of protons plus number of neutrons. Let's solve it now. The mass number equals what? Equals, here you have 17 plus 18. So here the answer is 32. sorry, it's not written yet, which is equal 35. This is the mass number. Okay, I hope this one is clear to understand it. If you have any question how to find the mass number and the atomic number and number of protons, number of electrons, send me your questions. Thank you for listening.